See, she didn't even have the guts to come and tell us that she was being beaten. She was battered last night and everything. So she ended up getting depressed. And we also linked her to a counselor. This did not help also. My name is Beatrix Arusei. I work for an organization called Midrift Human Rights Network, and I'm a human rights defender based in Nakuru. And in my day-to-day life, I encounter women who've gone through GBV. And according to the Kenya Demographic Health Survey, it says that 1 out of 3 women go through GBV, and most especially physical and sexual violence. Most of the times, when our friends or even our neighbors are going through gender-based violence or physical violence in their relationships or in their marriages, we are always quick to tell them to leave. I believe leaving is the solution. However, when leaving is not an option, how else are we able to help these people who are going through violence in their relationships or in their marriages? An example I'll give is one of our friends was going through GBV, and the 3 friends that we were together with our friend, we told her to leave. We will even rent house for her. Everybody was saying, I'll buy you a mattress. Someone said, I'll give you a gas. I'll do everything. Like, we would furnish that house and also pay rent for 2 months. But she was not ready to leave. We left her because we had given her an option out, but she didn't take it. And we said, ye ameamua kufanya nini? Kubaki huko, aendelee kuchapwa. So we didn't find it in our hearts to maybe give her the grace, because we thought that she would just take our advice and leave. But we need to be able to see sometimes living is not an option for someone who's going through an abuse. An example is the Sonko's daughter. Alisema achanini na bwana yangu. So such things, how then do we help these people while still there to also get to get a sense of self, to be self-aware, for them to know what they are going through is not right? And how then do we also ensure they get their own physical and emotional autonomy, that they are able to make that decision to leave an abusive relationship? So at the end of the day, our friend, she went back and stayed. And you see, she didn't even have the guts to come and tell us that she was being beaten. She was battered last night and everything. So she ended up getting depressed. And we also linked her to a counselor. This did not help also. So at the end of the day, we started telling her, please, you need to be able. A friend of ours also bought her a book about growing your self-confidence and also awareness. When she started reading that book, we could see her making notes, taking notes, and saying, hey, this book is really helping me. The day she decided to leave, she just woke up and left with nothing, with just the baby. So at the end of the day, she made that decision, but after a very long while going through that. How, as people, as human rights defenders, as women, as men, do we help these young people or even people who are in abusive relationship hold their hands until they are able to make that decision to finally leave an abusive relationship? So at the end of the day, we are talking about linking them to counseling. Instead of telling them leave, also tell them, I'll be here for you in case of anything, such that they do not end up having mental health issues. They'll end up being able to speak out, and the day that they'll make that decision, it is their own decision, not you influencing the decision that they're going to make. On the other side of physical violence, there is sexual violence. When it comes to that, the survivor's body becomes the crime scene. How is it that the criminal justice system deal with this crime scene? Most of the time, the woman or the person who's been violated ends up being very sick or cannot even move. But they are required to go to report to the police station first for them to get treatment at the hospital. So that is also something that we need to see. Sometimes, is it okay if we take this survivor to the hospital and then to the police station? Because at the end of the day, sometimes it's better to preserve this body and this person before we lose them. by going to the hospital, receiving the first aid, and then going to report? How can we make it easier for these for the victims, for the victims to get justice, and also ensure that their dignity are maintained by the criminal justice system? So at the end of the day, we have seen so many cases reported vis-a-vis the number of cases prosecuted and also judgment provided. So we are also calling the government, and most especially the judiciary and the police, to expedite these cases for the victims and the survivors to get justice. Because one case will take so long, and the victims and the survivors end up not getting the justice that they deserve. So at the end of the day, we need to see how we can all work together, the civil society, the government, and even the community, to ensure most people are aware of the reporting processes and that they are able to come together and come up with witnesses, and also ensure that the judiciary expedites these cases. The first time the government recognized this as a national crisis was last year, that is 2024, when the president established a task force on GBV and femicide. 1 year down the line, we are yet to get a progress report. We are yet to get recommendations. Yet in April and May, the task force did a public participation nationally. So we are calling out the task force. Please give us a report and give us recommendation for us as development partners, and also the government, to come up with interventions that is going to solve this situation. Because at the end of the day, justice delayed is justice denied.